This segment of JTV News is brought to you by Clarence Thomas Limited and Infinite Solutions.
The fight against the air passenger duty continues, with Caribbean countries now getting support from international carriers and the World Travel and Tourism Council. According to the WTTC, over the next 12 months, the British government could collect £2.8 billion in extra tax from air travellers, far more than any country in the world. In contrast, if the ADP is removed, 91,000 British jobs could be created and £4.2 billion added to the economy within the same time frame. Last Monday, British Airways, EasyJet, Virgin Atlantic and Ryanair joined the petition against the tax and called the powers that be to suspend another scheduled increase for April 1st. According to airline sources, the 8% increase will reduce passenger numbers and hinder the UK's economic recovery. If the April 1st increases are implemented, a family of 4 flying from the UK to the Caribbean will have to fork out $625.08 in taxes, compared to $125.06 in 2005. The airline sources warned that this could have a domino effect, as fewer families flying would also result into less jobs within the tourism, aviation and hospitality industries. The sources added that the disproportionate tax on people's holidays was also affecting business travel at a time when economies needed assistance. Countries throughout the Caribbean and the Caribbean Tourism Organization have been lobbying for a reduction and or the removal of the APD. Chief Minister of Anguilla, Herbert Hughes, said he is looking forward to a visit from a CARICOM delegation, as agreed at the recently concluded CARICOM intersessional meeting in Suriname. CARICOM leaders are to send a delegation to Anguilla in a bid to diffuse the public tension between the Governor William Alistair Harrison and the Chief Minister Herbert Hughes. Heads of government expressed their grave concern at the continuing deterioration in the governance arrangements in Anguilla and expressed the firm view that at all times the best interests of the people of Anguilla must be paramount, including due respect for the duly elected government. CARICOM leaders said they also discussed the situation in the Turks and Caicos Islands, where London has imposed direct rule, replacing the elected government pending fresh general elections more than 2 years ago. Former Premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, Michael Misick, in a statement this week, called on all Turks and Caicos Islanders, churches and political parties to put differences aside and unite to fight the common enemy, the British. Anguilla Chief Minister said during the Overseas Territories Conference in London last November that he reported to the delegates the Governor of Anguilla is a virtual dictator and that he manipulates every system, and there is a conspiracy with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office to make sure that Anguilla does not have a foreign economy. Trinidad and Tobago's Ministry of Food Production is looking to improve the country's food security by expanding local production of non-traditional crops while creating employment and reducing the country's food import bill by $2 billion by the end of 2015.
The Food Production Minister says the action plan could not have come at a better time, as there is growing concern worldwide over the availability of food. He says many countries are now withholding their crops, and it is therefore important that this country focus more on local production, especially because the local resources are available. Minister Barrett adds that billions of dollars are spent annually on foreign food, and there must be a way to force persons to buy locally. He outlines several areas of focus where his ministry would attempt to reduce importation by 25 to 100%, depending on the crop.
We've selected several areas. We've selected staples, which would be, currently we import wheat and corn and so on, right? So we're looking to replace that with rice, more locally grown rice, cassava, sweet potatoes, dasheen and so on. In every area, fruits, you will see a similar thing, where we're resuscitating the citrus industry, coconut industry, mangoes, watermelon, and we'll reduce our fruit import bill. If we are able to put all of this in place, which we intend to, we will halve our import bill from $4 billion to $2 billion by the end of 2015.
If the Ministry of Food Production has its way, over the next 4 years, we could see a lot more crops like these being grown locally, thus reducing the food import bill. Another area of focus for Minister Barath is the local fishing industry. He is of the view that there is urgent need for regulation, particularly to prevent foreigners from fishing in our waters. He says it is in this regard he will soon be taking legislation to Parliament to revise the 100-year-old Fisheries Management Bill to give government more teeth.
All fishermen will have to be licensed. All fishing boats will have to be licensed. we will ensure very strict adherence with regard to where you can and where you can't fish.
Minister Barath was speaking with reporters following the launch of the National Food Production Action Plan at the Tucker Valley Farm in Chaguaramas on Monday. For CNC3, I am Chester Zambrano.
2 years after a severe drought wreaked havoc with a number of Caribbean countries, some are now adopting new strategies in a bid to prevent a repeat of a situation where countries were rationing water and imposing strict restrictions on residents. Dominica is raising awareness of the need for conservation of water resources and is considering an integrated water resource management approach to the management of land and water resources. Dominica, like many other countries, has seen some decline in water levels in rivers and streams, and some are concerned that not enough rainwater is being caught despite more intense rainfalls. Caribbean Environmental Health Institute Professor Christopher Cox says sea level rise and salinization of fresh groundwater is yet another concern for Caribbean islands. Cox said the Caribbean is very vulnerable in terms of its freshwater resources and pointed to problems with water availability in rural areas of St. Lucia, Jamaica, and Trinidad. He said Caribbean governments are slowly coming around to put in place strong policies for protection of water resources. The big problem is that water is not given the level of importance it deserves. It is being forecast that the Caribbean region, particularly the Eastern Caribbean, could see declines in average annual rainfall by between 30 and 50%. The dry seasons will become more intense and result in problems with water supply. Travelers from Antigua to Barbados will have another alternative starting this summer when RedJet begins flying between those two countries. RedJet announced intention to begin the service from June 6th with a promotional fare of $16.99 going on sale this week. This development comes almost 4 months after the inaugural Antigua to Guyana flight. RedJet's upcoming service in the Barbados-Antigua route is very significant since Liat, which many travelers have complained is too expensive, would have been the main carrier bridging the northern and southern Caribbean. But even as the traveling public welcomes RedJet's 9th route in the region, there is also concern that the airline is expanding too rapidly and will meet the demise of companies which have tried to compete with the longer-established Liat. Earlier this month, St. Martin joined St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Guyana and Jamaica as destinations serviced by RedJet. This is Walter Barrett for JTV News.